Okay, now
I'll go for South.
all right.
Gloria.
Gloria, what about some tomatoes?
That's it.
They're funny.
See if Gloria will have some.
Dad, look. You take this
I
off.
doubt it.
It's too cold.
Then you
Wasn't
open
there-
the thing, and then you get the eggs if there are any. And then
Oh, look at that!
you're lucky.
Excellent.
You just
Excellent.
look around.
I knew something wasn't right early on. We adopted Julia from a Siberian orphanage in February 2003. She didn't clutch to me or gaze in my eye. She never rested her head on my shoulder or relaxed into a warm embrace. She didn't respond if I sang or read to her. She was there, but wasn't.
This is Alex. She's my favorite cat. She's the third cat in the house. He always sleeps right next to me on the bed. This is Smudge right here. He licks actually. He has lots of smudges on his face. That's why you called him Smudge. He's a nice cat. He's very obedient. He looks at you in the camera.
In January of 2003, we traveled for the first time to Novosibirsk in Siberia, and we met her, and it was surreal. I will always have that picture embedded in my mind when the caretaker walked toward me and she was cradled in her arms. That first time I looked at her, I thought I had never seen a more beautiful baby anywhere. I mean, she was so starkly stunning. She already seemed to have like dimples, and she had these khaki colored eyes, and she had a runny nose and it was red, but she had this alabaster skin, and she was like a piece of porcelain. She was stunning, absolutely stunning. I guess the first thing I thought of was, wow, she must have some stunning mother.
And the other animal we have in the house is me. I'm like the wild monkey.
By the end of maybe the first year, I was really in despair. I had just come to conclude that I had made a mistake and that something must be wrong with me, that I couldn't feel connected to this child. She was always running away from me. She, just never, there was no mother duckling, baby duckling thing going on. There was no sense that, I was the person who was going to protect her. And there was nothing warm, there was nothing fuzzy. I couldn't read to her, I couldn't play with her. It was just like she was there. And the more time went on and the more it was like that, the worse it felt.
I want to become a special ed teacher, which is a teacher who teaches other people, teaches sort of like special and disabled people. And I want to do that because I sort of feel like connected to them in a way. Not really, but I really like them and I have a giant interest in them.
What reactive attachment disorder is, briefly, is that the baby suffers a traumatic disconnect from love and nurture and care so early on. And they come to believe in their subconscious mind, even though they're so young, that the world is an unsafe place, that there's no one to trust, that adults come and go, that there's very little consistency, and ultimately they absorb this idea into their tiny little minds, but these little minds are forceful, and they absorb this notion that the only people in the world they can trust are themselves. From that moment forward, everything, I'm not saying it was instantaneous change, but everything about our intentions of how we were going to parent her changed. Julie's always been an early riser, so we all usually wake between 6 and 6:30. And while Ricky was out getting the chickens out of the coop, Julia and I come downstairs, and I made some fresh squeezed orange juice, and we laid the table for breakfast, and we got the newspapers on the table, so by the time Ricky comes in, the cats are fed, and we sit down and we eat some breakfast. Ricky got busy in the kitchen baking his soon-to-be famous madeleines, and After breakfast, we spend some time back in Julia's room, looking at some of her, the website that she's making about cooking, and also some drawings, some cartoons that she's made, including a drawing that made it into Highlights magazine. And then she played a game of chess with her dad, and he stole her queen, and she wasn't too thrilled about that, but she got over it very quickly, especially since lunch was next, and eating is very much up there among the favorite activities. So we had our typical, Sunday lunch, a nice big salad and some mozzarella sandwiches, and the rest of the afternoon we'll just unwind lazily. Julia will be on the computer for an hour or so. We'll probably just laze around and maybe do some work or read. And then we'll probably have a light dinner tonight before we watch the Oscars. She's become, she's everything. She's my child, and it's like she's my work, and the two have fused together, and it's kind of gratifying in a funny sort of way. I guess what she's brought to my life in a weird way, and I hope doesn't sound selfish, but she's brought to my life a mission. Julia's hurt. It's given us all a mission to heal, and that I'm able to do that through my work makes me very lucky. I've not just been given a child, but I've been given a muse,